Drinking from a fountain, born of yesterday. Take me where the wild, wild lilies grow. When I didn't know, that's the way that it goes. Where the wild, wild lilies grow. Even though you roam, you can tell that you're home. Share the wild, wild lily soul. In the undertow, I can follow the glow. Where the wild, wild lilies grow. Even though you roam, you can tell that you're home. Share the wild, wild lily soul. In the undertow, I can follow the glow. Where the wild, wild lilies grow. Even though you roam, you can tell that you're home.
I'm going in. More than just a tick, when I'm going in, I'ma make sure it's right. All up in you guys, make a big page, but when I do big, I mean outrageous. Who you think is dealing with doll face? I only run my kings and queens, you know, cause I'm the ace by the case. That's right, I said I'm going in, while you out running errands. I'm running this game, I'll be in that top spot. Natural born winner, work hard, play harder, come and get it if you wanna, but yo, you better know. I'm going in. I'm going in.
And it's good to welcome you back to the LPL Spring for Week 7, Day number 1, here in the Hongqiao Arena. We're back in Shanghai as we have BLG and Vici Gaming starting us off. As BLG walk on in very, very slowly, and Vici Gaming as well. You saw Jay there entering the dressing room. It's going to be a wild one for you. BLG, Vici Gaming, both team fighting teams, and that is the team bonding you aspire to find. Especially when for BLG, you have 2 Koreans coming over from the FLICKR Freaks, from previously MVP for ADD. And BLG, a couple of rookies there as well. You previously saw Metoer, Metoer over on BLG. For Vici Gaming, it's more or less the same with 5 rookies there as well. How do you prepare for your games? Do you read? Do you sit there? Do you eat Doritos? I sure as hell do. Welcome back. My name's Jayce Osipenko, joined by Barento Raz Muhammad, and it's good to see you on the guest again, my good friend.
Yeah, it was just yesterday that we got to cast an amazing series, and I could swear that book that he was reading was a Chinese textbook. So, of course, yeah, the 2 Korean members coming in from BLG, still trying to get accustomed to the land. They made a mention that they were feeling really comfortable, of course, in China and Shanghai, so that's nice to see, and you can see that they're learning quite quickly.
Like communication's an issue on that team, which is something we'll bring up a little bit later, but if you missed out on yesterday, which is always how I start off the show, you should watch LPL more. Yesterday was a doozy, as you mentioned before. We got to cast some really good games, and we will again today, but let's bring up those standings, because there is one thing that needs to be shown, and it's the fact that FPX are still 8-0.
Undefeated! This is the first test when they went up against Invictus Gaming, the World Champions, and they were able to take them down in the 3rd game. It was fun to see, and it was through Tien, new jungler, and of course, Duanbi, who's just phenomenal talent there.
FPX, if you played their jungle, Invictus Gaming still look good, but FPX look better. And then we have other teams in the mix that should be higher as, of course, I refer to Suning.
Yeah, so like that was the biggest surprise of the night, to be honest. Even though FPX going up against Invictus Gaming, that's the one the most people will be able to spot on the map. But Suning losing to OMG.
Yeah.
I thought the losing streak would end at 4. OMG taking them down in that way where they had such a huge lead for the majority of the game. People were calling it at that point. Baron buff should end it quite easily, and then we could move on to the match of the week. Didn't happen. It was much longer. 1 tower taken by OMG for the majority of the game. It was mid lane outer turret, the bot lane outer turret was still alive and 100% HP. They hadn't been touched. The fact that OMG were able to win, I feel like I count 3 team fights in a row.
Yep.
Run it straight down and take 1, 2, 3 towers, inhibitor, Nexus turrets, and then just end the game based off that. It's ridiculous, and it's tilted Suning fans.
They were 1 pick away from
the globe.
losing that game as well.
Yes.
1 Nexus turret remaining. And Suning dropping that game is a very big deal in the standings, considering we're at Week 7, we're at playoffs. And at this moment now, you're saying you don't know who the top 8 are, but you do know who the top players are. Because it's best of the Rift time. It's a beautiful, beautiful Monday. And we look at our top 5, starting with, thank you very kindly, Ray deserves to be there.
Ray's back!
Yeah!
I remember week 1, week 2, it was SMLZ, SMLZ. This time around, you get Ray getting that love, man. Another, once again, go around, solo kills galore, 3 solo kills throughout the week. I feel like a few of them were on Zoom because when that JDG matchup happened, he was a star.
It's super hard as well because Ray just had a phenomenal performance when we said, stick on tanks, man. You'll be so much better.
Yeah.
What does Ray do?
I like.
A bit of Vladimir, a bit of the Aatrox. It's
all
looked
good.
so good.
Yes.
That's Ray. However, with FPX, you've got the duo, the 2v2, that is just shining your stars.
They dismantled Rookie and Ning in the 3rd game. I said game 1, game 2, game 3, and game 2 and game 3 I felt like it really started and ended with Tien and Duanbi. Tien's Jarvan is wonderful. He is just not perturbed at all. The confidence is there. Solo kills were there. One of them was the Ning at blue buff. That one was super important, so well deserved from Tien.
Doesn't that excite you? FPX have their 2v2 in the jungle mid, and the 2v2 down on the bottom is RNG, Uzi, and Ming.
Yeah, that one's just easy. Like we've always expected when Uzi comes back, that's going to be the one that we look at. CS difference is not stated, but he's number 1 on that one. So Uzi and Ming's laning phase is excellent, and when they get in team fights, they always showcase it.
It's great because FPX and RNG are on the board. That is our match of the week coming up on the Wednesday. RNG and FPX, this is going to be bloody.
This was great. You said bloody because great team fighting teams. One's a lot more hectic in FPX, but they've been making it work. They challenge you constantly. And this is going to be a great week for just League of Legends. FPX not only go up against RNG, but at the end of the week, we get to see them go up against TOP as well. Huge test to FPX just coming off of the victory over Invictus Gaming, now being challenged up against the 2 strongest teams.
A lot of the time, strength of schedule has been the word that's been dropped here. And for FPX, if they can get through RNG, if they can get through TOP, more than likely they've secured their playoff position.
It's huge. I mean, for FPX, naysayers, including myself, came out there because they had the easy strength of schedule in the first 4 weeks.
Yep.
And then when they went up against Suning, which was the challenge, Suning at the time was undefeated, but they came out with a sick Maple. That's something that will always people will hold against them. But now this week, people, including myself, we're changing our tunes, man. Like,
You have to.
I speak for the naysayers across the globe where I'm like, I don't know anymore. So FPX, they've really shut me up with the Invictus Gaming series, and I expect, once again, going the distance, a Game 3 going up against RNG.
All naysay is going to disappear if they can beat RNG as well.
True.
That's coming up on Wednesday. That's our match of the week, but we have to start with Vici and BLG today, which is honestly going to be a very interesting game for me.
Interesting for me because team fighters across the globe. Like,
That's right.
Vici Gaming's great in terms of team fighting. Team fight kill participation for both of these squads are topping it. And then at the end, you're like, wait a minute, this is the team identities for WE and Snake are the exact same deal. So good luck, Mr. Play-by-Play.
Yeah, no,
You can handle a majority of this.
It'll be a harsh day, but I hope we go to Game 3s because I know out of those 4 teams, there is one of them who absolutely loves Game 3s.
Oh, no.
Vici Gaming have had a very good record going the distance, Raz.
Okay. You're lying to me. They have a good record in terms of how many games they go to distance.
Yeah.
Like 7 series so far going the distance, but their record is 2. 2 wins of the 7 series that they're able to go for. So
they run out of gas.
It's insane.
Yeah.
When they get to that Game 3, it doesn't look good for them. So it's kind of tilting for the organization, the fact that they can bring these new players, start out with the expectation of this is just going to be, we're just running this team, see how far we can go. We have a lot of faith in these young guys, and let's see. And then suddenly they're like, wait a minute, you guys are exceeding our expectations. You took
a game off of Suning.
Took a game off of EDG. They're going up against a lot of these top teams because they had a really rough first 3 weeks in terms of the strength of schedule.
Yeah.
And they went 3 games every time. So, then you start pushing the goalposts. So, okay, maybe you can take this victory because you are that talented in the bottom lane of Pup and Southwind. And then the rest of the team's been coming in on team fights very strongly. But then they're just inconsistent. For this one, we're going to be honing in on the fact when they come out even, 25 minutes in the game, they are ahead of LGD. So they don't have the issues of the laning phase, so they come out strong, hit hard in these team fights.
And especially since for someone like Chelizi, you know that he's going to be a big disruptor in the backline.
Yes.
And Vici Gaming, there's coordination, but you pull out the individuality, and it seems to shine through only in those laning phases.
Hitting the fact that Jay and Chelizi, you talked about the way that they structure their team fights as disruptors, and I really agree with that. They need to be able to create space for Puff and Southwind. The only thing I take away from them is their solo lanes.
Yep.
Their solo lane laning phase is actually quite poor for Jay and Chelizi. So you already see the Lucian pick from him. In team fights look so good, and you're starting to see that was his most recent series where he's prioritizing the laning phase, where he's trying to improve like in a lot of the tough matchups that he's been really dinged for. So great for them. If they can come out even 20 minutes into the game, I have a lot of hope for this team.
It's more or less the same story, though, with BLG as we take a look here. And a lot about Jinjiao will be said today, but their team fight is still the prowess of this team, too.
Yeah, Jinjiao, Kuro, and the biggest surprise of me has been ADD.
Oh, yeah.
ADD's been a player that can come in hot. Damage percentage, or at least damage per minute for him has actually been huge, even though he's coming out with a lot of pop performances, because what he's able to provide in a lot of the team fights is very apparent. So he's able to bring out like man of the matches, not consistently, because when he's not coming out huge for his team, he's actually a detriment within the laning phase. So it's fun that we're going and picking out two teams going up against each other where laning phase is actually their weakest point. So I want to be able to see ADD and challenge him, because when they come out strong, this is the type of team fighting that you can get. Drafting is so creative where BLG can come out, draft out Cassiopeia, put him in Jinjiao's pocket, and Jinjiao actually can come out and look like he's just has a high aptitude for the pick.
Accelerates on the Cassiopeia. The Ezreal as well has a versatile play style.
Yeah.
Let's compare AD carries here, because Puff is a lot of a fresher face. A lot of people who've watched the LPL before will go, who the hell is Puff and Southwind? They'll go, oh, I remember Jinjiao. And when they stack up, you're saying, well, hang on a second, Puff looks pretty good.
Puff looks really good, and initially it was the laning phase that you got to see a lot of strength in. But now they're trying to pick for team fighting. And so what you see here, in terms of CS per minute, 9.8, almost perfect. They're right now 2 and 3 in terms of just like how much they're CSing for the team fights. Because while the CS difference is they're not really caring too much about the lane, so they're even just a little bit in the negatives.
Yep.
But the damage percentage that they're hitting, the team really relies on Puff and Jinjiao to come in strong. And as it stands, damage per minute for Jinjiao is the strongest for AD carries. And so it's mostly because the team fights he's given a lot of space to work with, and his positioning has always been known for that, as long as the setting for that team fight is strong. So that's been the key to BLG's success. The success that they've had is because Jinjiao has been able to walk front to back very easily off of his Sivir picks. And on top of that, Kuro's just been a major standing ground for like a lot of the picks. He has 8 champions that he's played. I know
That's
like
right.
number 1 right now is like 12 champions, but he's very close to being able to go that. He can find all different sorts. The Aurelion Soul is a surprising point as well. And I feel like with him, all it stands is if he can get out of lane phase just through pushing, wave clear, and then they get down the vision control, because they're one of the strongest teams in being able to place control wards, set the battlefield, Jinjiao's ready for it.
Because we can compare week 1 Kuro to now week 7 Kuro as well.
Yeah.
The Lissandra performance has been exceptional. You go back to week 1, week 2, and you look at Kuro and you say, oh, he's playing the Galio, the more Korean style of League of Legends that he was very well known for over in a Freak of Freaks, where the Galio would move around, would rotate a lot around Jinjiao as well. But it's good that there's the carry potential that still shines through.
We kind of saw that carry potential regardless in the LCK, because that's when he was coming up with the Yasuo options.
Very true as well.
I think the one thing that we've always dinged Kuro for was in playoff times, international performances. He's in real pressure situations, it hasn't turned good. He's actually played really poorly in those respects. So you really want to see him when it comes down to the playoff time that you're gearing up for. Right now they're 5th place, which is crazy for BLG as a team that's restructured. And what I want to see is when they go up against teams in a best-of-3, best-of-5 setting, them being able to adapt and move forward. What I saw is adaptation in Coach Sim. So Coach Sim, in their drafts and in their gameplay, they are getting stronger and they can really go the distance. So I'm liking what I see for this team.
If we talk about draft, it could be very easily predictable, considering for BLG, this is one of their easier matchups. They're versus WE over the next week as well.
Yep.
But if we talk purely about strength of schedule for BLG, Suning, who I don't know at the moment.
We'll see.
RNG, EDG, FPX, IG, TOP. They literally have, you know, if you die one day, Raz, and you know, I'm sorry if you do. If you go down, you're walking through the hot burning lava.
Yeah.
You know, you're not having a good time. That's what RNG, EDG, FPX, IG, and TOP are.
That's a lot of lava.
Yeah.
And I hope there's no lava in my
I could have gone a lot safer with that, Raz, but I decided not to.
But it's really tough, and you've made that point. I think they're gearing up for that once again. I talked the fact that I like the growth that they had. You talked about the communication not being so much of an issue, and I think the inconsistency and how ADD is really pairing into the team. it's been hit or miss.
Yep.
And I think that's where the issue lies. Because if we're just talking about purely team kill participation rate, how often the side lanes have been in the team fights. They're one of the best teams at that. And so timing is so key. If ADD right now has the largest kill participation among top laners, then if he comes in at a flank or comes in like with his poppy pick, then you want to be able to be on point. I think that at times in a best of 3, that's fallen off.
A really good point. I like that you bring up the Poppy because he's one of the few that pick it up. Let's have a look at their lineup. ADD in the top lane, Metoer in the jungle, not Metoer, Kuro, Jinjiao, and Mini as your support.
Like that Mini has been coming in a lot more often. I've liked the Tahm Kench play that he's coming with. Feel like the laning phase has been strong there for Jinjiao.
Very true as well. Kind being the rotation there. In the top lane for Vici Gaming is Chelizi, Ike's, Jay, Puff, and Southwind. Do not forget that bottom lane. They are going to be crucial.
Yeah, bottom lane's going to be strong for this one. Jay's actually come in with, amongst mid laners, most champions played.
Yeah.
The Lucian just as recent. So in terms of like pick ban, I know that I came out and said that BLG has the most creative pick ban options. Flex among 3 roles when it comes to the Cassio pair. If we've ever see the Cassio go top lane, I'm just, hoping.
Not yet.
But the fact that Jay's has so many picks that he can go towards, and Lucian being such a high priority at the moment in the meta, I think that's going to be key in this series because just based off that Lucian play, I think he's a great laning phase champion. And going up against Kuro that's predominantly playing the mage options, I think that's a real key pick that you can just, if you're on blue side, pick up Lucian, throw it mid.
Yeah.
And then you just have the, Puff go towards the Kai'Sa. And if you ever have Kai'Sa and Lucian on one team, that's great to know for the enemy team.
Oh yeah, imagine the push as well. It's just so simple yet difficult when we talk about the laning phases. To bring back as well, BLG, their mid laner Kuro, he's got the experience if you compare it up to Jay. But for Jay, it took him a while to move towards some of these carry mid laners. He started off with very safe picks, but it feels like he's got his footing in the LPL.
Yeah, it's mostly just his role. Like, what is his role on this team, really?
Yeah.
It evolved, really, because at the beginning it was team fight, but don't have push priority. You're just kind of building up to any fight that Ike's picks it. And then now it feels like in the last 2 weeks, it's been get push priority. Push mid, push bottom lane, look for a blue buff invade, because expect that. Ike's has been going towards it religiously.
A lot, yeah.
And so that's where Puff is starting to see a lot more confidence. It's a lot more direction, and it's easier for him to say, okay, this is what my role in the team in the first 10 minutes are. So that's going to be fun to look forward to. I wonder if BLG is going to allow that, because Mini's been really on point about roaming timing. So if you get an idea that blue buff is going to be threatened, get a good flank ward, then we get some more team fights that this team wants.
If you see a team that does it religiously, surely there's got to be a sit down saying, let's watch out for this bottom side of the map and how aggressive Ikes can play into the enemy jungle into game 1. And we'll see, because already mid lane priority just blows open this pick and ban.
Yeah, Syndra ban against Jay. I actually love Kuro Syndra, so they're just recognizing, real for real, Jay has a pretty good Syndra as well.
Yep.
And it takes away the Lissandra option. So I think BLG's opening up Lissandra. They don't want the Syndra into Lissandra matchup. So I wonder what Vici is going to do, recognizing that Lissandra's wide open. And really, Zoe is the opposite. There we go. It's going to ban it away.
Okay, so a lot of mid lane priorities, you said, and this is just going to open things up to BLG. Maybe go to the bottom lane first, or maybe just lock in the LeBlanc.
Okay, LeBlanc immediately. Now, Zoe was something that I was going to look towards because it has an 80... Oh, yeah, it's already been banned. Thank the Lord. I didn't even notice that because we just got in so quickly.
Yep.
So LeBlanc is just going to be unchallenged. Remember, this is 9.2, so Akali still is high priority, but picking LeBlanc immediately, tough matchup for that Akali.
Still feels like we've shifted away from Akali, especially since the Chinese live server now is on 9.4. Maybe that shift is due to unwinding on the Akali pick, but even though Urgot's been changed as well, not in this patch, gets locked in. And that could be Jay as well. He's played it before.
Ooh, I just hoping for the... I wonder about the Silas pick. But either way, I love the Urgot. I think Urgot as a pick, great flex between both Jay and Chelizi. I think Chelizi's Urgot's been wonderful because he's been able to join the fight as a flank at a pretty consistent rate. I would almost compare him to Xiao Al and how often he's able to come in there. High success on that Urgot. So just being able to pick it as a priority for Chelizi allows Vici Gaming to have that confidence in their team fight.
Yeah, especially when ADD in the past has gone to something like the Sion as well. And at the moment, Urgot doing very well into the Sion in the LPL. BLG hover over their bottom lane, lock in the Tahm Kench for Mini again.
Right now, the safest bottom lane you can pick in the meta. We've seen it from Sinning so frequently, and it allows for them to just focus topside. So if you're BLG and you know that you have an Ezreal, Tahm, Kench, you have a very strong late game AD carry, and a Tahm Kench that will protect you at any situation in these team fights. So right now, I'm just looking towards ADD. What does ADD have to pick here? Because he has a whole host of options. You know, we talk about the Poppy quite a bit, but his Fiora was also equally impressive. So I think Fiora is on as an option going into Urgot. I appreciate it.
Yep. Well, especially if you don't want to run something like the Cledin, which he was known for very much so over in the LCK.
He's had a few.
He has had a few. We've got a couple of Cled players in the league. Vici Gaming transitioning over now. The Alistar was locked in before we saw the Sion ban. Interesting that they'd ban it away, but not giving ADD the light of day.
Yeah, his Sion play is nice, and I think that the ability to just use your ultimate as a tempo to come back into lane. It also has a good laning phase into the Urgot. The shield that he has, Q out of range.
Yep.
So you don't have to really concern yourself with the Urgot's damage early on. So Sion's a good ban here. I'm just thinking towards there goes the Poppy.
Seeing a lot of topside bans, that Vladimir being aimed over, because we still don't have an answer as to whether Chelizi will be on that Urgot. If you're banning away Vladimir, then surely you're going to aim for another top mid flex.
But throughout all of these bans, the one champion, or at least the one character that's been kind of left to the wayside has been Metoer. Remember, Metoer still has a jungle to go through.
Yeah.
And he's been a pretty good Nocturne so far. So I think Nocturne is a pick for BLG that they can kind of keep in the back of their minds.
See if maybe even the Camille comes back over to Metoer that we saw in week 1 and week 2. Vici Gaming their own jungler being hovered now, and with the option of Lee Sin. You look at the composition, and Lee Sin fits right in.
Yeah, it's been a strong skirmishing jungler, and it's going to probably set up Vici Gaming for a good skirmish through mid. They're still waiting on their mid lane counter pick, and for me, Ryze stands out like a thumb. He's a very strong pick into the LeBlanc, and if you're thinking about the raw damage Lee Sin provides, and then to back them up, just the rune prison that Ryze has there, then I would favor that 2v2, and it would kind of put a wrench into a lot of the plans BLG has.
Especially with a Jayce Jarvan, possibly, a Jayce LeBlanc being the other 2v2. Vici need to match here. We'll see. BLG do eventually give Metoer the Jarvan. Surprised we don't have a Galio here in this composition.
I mean, I just love the fact that BLG said that exactly what Sinning is. It's the strategy of saying, bottom lane, we are not too concerned about Jinjiao and Mini early on.
Okay.
They can farm up super early on, and all Metoer has to do is stay topside. You might even see him vertically jungle to give ADD and Kuro the largest lead that they can early.
It's going to be the Ryze though. And however, this is what you asked for, Ryze. You wanted the 2v2. And you got it. Not going to be a Jayce jungle as well, thank you.
I think the Ryze into LeBlanc is much harder than the Lissandra into LeBlanc. As a LeBlanc player into it, if you're a LeBlanc into those matchups, you can play at the range of your chain, and you'd be okay versus Lissandra a little bit. You'd only have to really deal with the shove. Up against the Ryze, if he goes into Aftershock as well, you're really just looking towards the Rune Prison to negate a lot of the damage that you have with his resistances. And then on top of that, he can just trade right back on top of you. So I want to see how mid-focused Ike's is in this game.
Especially if we're talking heavily about vertical jungling as well for the mid, and Ike's, if he can get around to that mid lane, and the 2v1, the 2v2, still looks favorable. Level 3 Lee Sin. Although, having said that, the Jarvan versus Lee Sin, another 1v1, I mean, who knows? You know, that might have been IG and FPX, but BLG and Vici Gaming, they're just as bloody, they're just as fast. Want to set up for these team fights, but rough early laning phases is what was heavily mentioned.
For a lot of you new viewers out there, we've already seen a few early skirmishes between Lee Sin and Jarvan, where Jarvan got the head of it. That was the FPX series where, in particular, Tien got a solo kill onto the Lee Sin. And really, it just comes down to a few skirmishing picks that it comes down to like flag and drag. If you use flag and drag for the Scuttle Crab to get the resistance off the Scuttle Crab, and Lee Sin just pokes his head out of the bush, it's like, what's you doing?
It's mine.
Not only is it mine, but you just use your main form to fight to get some, resistances off Scuttle. So then Lee Sin obviously has the combat advantage. But equally, if Q on Lee Sin is used in one way or another, then good luck in that fight. So I just want to see what happens. Scuttle fights are my favorite thing on the Rift.
And they happen pretty early on, poking your head into the bush, sneaking out towards that big crab. And BLG and Vici Gaming, look, there is an aura about these two teams, and the aura screams death. Now, I don't want to be depressing, so let's say it screams life here into this series. Game 1 upon us, downstairs in Shanghai, the Hongqiao Arena, BLG have shown up. Take it. Oh my. Our crowd it's gone from week 1 to being very structured, you know, one team chant, the other team chant, to now everyone's just letting loose.
Yeah, you give them that airtime, the mic's blaring, you got to let them go. As long as they're not, cussing like a certain ruler.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty rough.
Just putting that out there.
It's not going to be the aftershock on Ryze, though, Raz. We do have a phase rush with, of course, Inspiration second. So, looking more for these quick trades and, of course, more of the team fights.
And on top of that mana flow band, which I really enjoy if you're just going to be skirmishing pretty heavily. You can get 250 mana pretty quickly on Ryze because he's going to be stacking his tier anyways. So he's just thinking more so sustain with the mana. He's going to have a lot of sustain in this matchup now that he's gone both into the Inspiration tree and the Sorcery tree. That being said, vertically jungling Meteor.
It's going to be a quick fight. This is spotted out, however, or maybe not. The ward depth from the Pixel Brush
Let's
might
go.
not be enough. Blast Cone there from Ike's. Sonic Wave lands. He gets onto Meteor. There's the Dragon Flag. Scuttle has joined the party just in time, but Ike's might actually just give this one over away.
Yeah, he'll give him the blue buff, but if you're a Meteor, you're a little happy about that because not only do you have vision of where Lee Sin is, but you get the Scuttle Crab, and you can actually move through mid, get Scuttle Crab topside, and double Scuttle him.
Pretty quick rotation there from Meteor. He starts heading up. Blue buff going over to Ike's.
Now I'm going to call you out.
Go for it, man.
Every time I listen to a caster of yours, you say drag and flag. When does the flag come in? Comes in first. All right.
Well, hang on.
Yes.
You can drag
No.
and you can flag afterwards. It works.
That doesn't make sense.
It does.
Not
It's
at all.
like acceleration gate shock blast. You can shock blast first. Well, actually, this is a good time to just speak about this.
So this is not an airy Jayce that you'd see a lot for just the harass within the lane.
Or the Klepto, which we've seen recently.
Yeah. So we're seeing a lot. We're seeing a phase rush. The amount of flow and band, you don't have to say too much about it. He gets a lot of sustain going into the domination tree, which is nice to see. And then picking up the phase rush can be able to chase people down. So longer lanes. Turret goes down, he gets more sustain, and he gets the ability to chase you. So I think Chelizi better watch out. If this snowballs against him and he has to deal with a Jayce side lane, that's a real strong snowball tool.
You can see Chelizi is taking the biscuits in anyway, so he'll have the sustain to withstand this lane, but already getting shoved in nice and early. Bringing back to the point of Klepto on the Jayce. Would have been okay in this lane, but definitely looking for the dominance. That was interesting from ADD. He doesn't get the accelerated shock blast.
They really had to show him as we was.
That's a good old dragon flag right there, Raz.
Stop it. I don't want to hear it.
I'm not even sure you can do it, actually. I might be
Look,
wrong
it's just not possible. You got to say it right.
Yeah.
Flag, then drag.
All right. Flag and drag. I got it. We haven't seen a flag and drag since, because we've taken our eyes off of Meteor, who's just gone back to farming in the jungle now. A bit of vertical jungling to start off, but after the push out from Ike's, there's a bit of stability back in the side of both junglers. A full clear coming through, level 4 for both.
And I'm wondering if Lee Sin wants to go for a gank here. It's really easy to set up for an Urgot gank, and there's a big payoff to get the kill on top of a Jayce, because if he falls behind in this specific matchup, then suddenly what are you looking at? A bruiser that picks up a Ninja Tabis, a little bit of armor, because of course you usually go Glacial Shroud anyways.
Yep.
So he has a lot to lose. ADD, if he gets ganked here, he would need some stabilizing ganks himself.
Ike's backed away anyway, and you can see that the lane is probably at its smallest in this matchup as well, considering that ADD has been constantly building up and pushing in. But stability point still not enough there for Ike's to make the visit to the top side of the map. He will be spotted out towards the mid though with the Ghost Pourer.
He has the... Oh, he's going to maybe look for a gank. You already tell that Ryze is looking for a base. There should be no reason that Ike's... Uh-oh.
Oh, Kuro. Yeah, Jay has no mana, but Sonic Wave will connect in here. With the distortion out, bursted to half. Ike's goal just to push Kuro out, but still not enough.
It's going to mess Kuro's back timing up, because at this point, if he's half HP, he wants to fast clear this in base. But with the teleport sticking around, Kuro is now stuck in the lane with about 30% HP off his off of him.
But the difference is the heads-up play here is that the 2v2 is still possible, knowing that Ike's could still be there.
But, you know, the combat abilities have been used by Metoer to go on the Scuttle Crab, so good luck with that.
At least Vici Gaming do get it. Yeah, Metoer, the flag and drag.
Yeah.
Not available there, just the drag in the end. Still confident, though, for Vici Gaming that there's a bit of pressure to be had in this mid lane still. But still good heads up that BLG would have to contest it away, and Kuro moving towards it nice and quick.
This is one of the biggest benefits of Metoer here, just because he allowed Kuro some time to base. The biggest fear is that if your jungle doesn't help you base because of that whole situation that happened, then Kuro can fall behind in a matchup that he needs to keep up par with.
Yeah.
We already know how difficult it is for a Ryze versus LeBlanc matchup. When Ryze actually starts to get more mana underneath him so he can trade more frequently, you cannot fall behind right now when LeBlanc is supposed to be at her strongest.
To move around the map, level 6 now, Kuro in the bottom lane is at a standpoint. There's a 10 CS lead down there, but they want to slow and quell that down as soon as possible, considering that Puff and Southwind, no level 6 yet from the duo. It's going to be the first move that's spotted out by a ward. Control ward in the brush as well, the pixel brush in fact. It's going to be spotted out as he moves back on down. You can see already trying to get that movement down nice and early while Jay's out of lane.
Now, Ike's has been topside for so long, just because the Scuttle Crab, we'll already see you go down, hit RNG topside, which is pretty good for Chelizi, that he has the consistent connection with his own jungler there.
Yeah.
That might change up now just because he has to start prioritizing bot side. 6 to 7 minutes into the game, Infernal Dragon is pretty huge, and at this point you want to be able to pay some mind towards your bottom lane. Think of it this way, you know, if Varus starts hitting level 6, same with Alistar, that's dive potential, they're starting to fall behind, but not only would this be like a stabilizing gank, but it would really get them ahead. So we'd have to see if the vision control that Metoer has here with the control ward to the left starts to really pay off and slow down Ike's.
He doesn't spot out the other jungler, and for Ike's as well, he's just hit level 6, so key to the engage and the big potential that the bottom lane offers. We'll get this ward on the way out as well, but Meteor's here, and the Cataclysm's there too. Ike's is going to die. Dunked for first blood by Metoer.
That was quick. Gave him the sad cat as well. I love that Metoer has been tracking him that strong. Had the timer on the blue buff. I was already in position, so Kuro and Metoer have just been getting better and better together.
And Mini moves up as well just to secure it. Blue buff for free, thank you kindly. And moves back down. The Infernal now a big possibility for BLG, considering Vici can't go anywhere near it with Jay getting shoved into.
So now that's the concern. They knew that they were going bot side, but now Metoer gets a free pass at it. It's going to be the first Infernal. If we just roll the dice, let's just hope that the second one is Infernal as well.
Yeah. We have an Ezreal in lane versus a Varus. Now Ezreal is safe, but Varus always has the potential for a lot more kill threat. But
that's still good.
That's the mountain. All right.
That's still really nice. That just means that right now Vici Gaming still want to be bot side. They don't want to be handing off 2 influential dragons, because for BLG, their composition is one of their weakness, I would say, is Baron time, because I would say what makes their composition better around taking Baron is that they do have Jayce, but Jayce doesn't want to be grouping up with the team. He wants to be on side lane. Yeah. Ike's is level 6, so he can actually look for a gank here.
Didn't spot it out just yet. I thought he tiptoed into that point of light. He's actually just hiding behind Fog of War right now. ADD again, still having the natural push in this lane. He's got a CS advantage, he's got double longsword, but no ability to really dive nor take the 1v2. Nike still just can't get into this lane.
It's usually easy for, it just comes down to how confident are you, because you're looking towards an Urgot looking for an E, flash into ADD, and then all Ike's needs to do is be able to hop right on top of his head and look for a cave.
Yep.
So, like, the only concern that they had was that they were concerned that like that was too obvious of a gank with how Urgot's been pressuring the lane. For ADD, who has flash, to be able to flash the starting point of that. So if Urgot gets his engage flashed away from, at the end of the day, that just goes away, and Ike's has been showing himself topside.
I mean, ADD doesn't even need to flash there as well. Instant E, instant knock away will actually stop away from that flip. So ADD has the potential to outplay without burning any summoners and maybe open things up for this top lane even more. The shove continues in, and at the moment for BLG, laning phase for ADD looking pretty good. But setting himself up to succeed was key number 1.
ADD's been doing really smartly, just like, I would say individually in his own lane.
Yeah.
Because he's been keeping up with mana, just switching towards hammer form, and then when his jungler was bot side, he went and picked up the Scuttle Crab, picked up the plant as well, so he got so much mana to just go back into the lane and you know, be able to go back to the lane for 2 minutes longer without having to base. So ADD's been putting so much pressure on Chelizi without giving him the chance. Right now he's based, but look at the payoff. Cannon minion wave underneath this tower.
Yeah, tower plating as well. That's going to go all the way down. Vici Gaming top laner now in a big deficit here. ADD going to back on double longsword, which surely should turn into close to what is a Youmuu's there. He's sitting on 2,300 gold. That is a Youmuu's bought outright.
Insane.
Pretty much.
I just want to see if the, because he's had some crazy builds in the past. I want to see if it's the Youmuu's or it's the Duskblade. Two options. That I would say Youmuu's is much better if he's trying to synergize alongside the phase rush. Yep. Oh, here we go.
That's a flash from Southwind. Instant respect there as BLG trying to catch out the support of Vici Gaming. And because of that, again, the summoner's gone. Mini's here. That's another Scuttle Crab.
Just look how BLG committed to that. Even Jinjiao, the moment the play had been called, using his ultimate just to be able to push Lee Sin off. So, ooh.
Kill threat onto Jay. Kuro backs away after the combo, so rather not kill threat there. But lane's doing very well here for BLG. Top and mid, very successful. And Kuro, now that he has the lane priority and Jay has to back, bottom lane has to show the same respect here from Vici Gaming.
It's just good call on Jay to base here because Kuro's been able to pick himself up the Ludens. He's not basing yet, but I guess Lee Sin's going to help him out a little bit.
Lee Sin level 7. Kuro could still dive this, however. Jay could die in an instant before Ix can get in.
He doesn't have his ultimate, Kuro that is, but he does have Ignite, so he doesn't want to go on just yet. But if the next wave comes through and Ryze sticks around, then he has kill threat.
Just forcing him to stay. That's the annoying thing here about LeBlanc. You know that she's either going to push that wave in very quickly or try and stop you basic, so you have to stay in the lane.
And Jay doesn't want to use his teleport. He wants to be able to come back into the lane just through walking. If he uses his teleport here, it opens up the chance for BLG to look for a bottom lane TP play.
Where's he going to go? Where's he going to use it? Jay stays in lane while the top lane has just been a jungle v jungle. Meteor dodges away just in case the Sonic Wave is going to hit him. He pulls away the red buff. He's like, I know they're here. And will be confirmed now with the control ward going down.
Here comes the teleport.
And finally being used. This is Jay coming in. It's not Puff. Over the side. Here comes the Abyssal Voyage. Takes the Blast Cone out. Mini up here just in case. From one objective to another, but the Rift Herald might just be stopped.
It was getting really dicey there with Southwind coming alongside too. But they had good enough vision, and good enough idea to be able to say, okay, we're taking the blast count. We're not going to be too cute here. There have been some teams, notably LGD, that have a great beginning to the play, but then can linger in the area for too long and forget what the purpose of them being there. That's not BLG.
Yeah,
BLG has great purpose here. And here we go, Vici Gaming with a response.
This has been spotted out though. There's a ward there that'll just expire, so Vici know that there's full vision, or at least BLG know.
Ezreal's teleporting mid, so they have the members here, just a little bit too late.
Rift Herald gone down. Do they turn for the fight? Sonic Wave on a resonating strike. Ix is going to drop down, but he gets a Rift Herald away with the Realm Warp for Vici Gaming. Jungler
Wait a minute.
for the objective.
Rift Herald is still there.
Is it?
It's still lingering. I saw the animation. Almost certain.
Oh no, Ix got it in his inventory.
Okay, I lied there.
He picked it up.
Yeah, that's fine. I saw a purple remnant, but it was actually just a skin.
It was very close with the flag and drag. We almost picked up Ix, but BLG, they just moved to the mid lane. So you got to see what's worth here. BLG still skyrocketing ahead. Look at the gold, and look at this next dragon.
I literally just saw the purple skin of the Jarvan's flag just sitting in the area. Right. So I was like, oh, this is something just sitting there. But yeah, that's gonna be dragon there for Meteor. But now they have to play reactively. They have to be able to find out where the Lee Sin's gonna be heading. It should be mid lane, but I'm a little bit concerned because mid lane's usually the easiest lane to be able to guard a Rift Herald to push. So you'd have to base it around Vici Gaming starting the fight with the Puff's ultimate first, seeing if they can at least pick one member off.
It's not often we see as well that the Rift Herald picked up so late into the game. Teams in the LPL looking to break open a turret when it has the turret plating and it has that extra gold on it as well. But now at the 14-minute mark, it becomes a lot easier to take down the turret, yes, but the gold is irrelevant there. Purely about getting Vici closer towards this mid game.
That's why you want to use the top side too, because you can get a push on mid or top lane, and then suddenly use that push that Rift Herald gives you to get vision control around Baron side. So it might be a little bit too early with the next dragon being Infernal, so you still have to care a lot about that. But it's going to be a nice shove for you to look towards the next objective.
Yeah. Wait until see it's used, because Ike almost loses Raptors, but Jinjiao was like, you know what? Might as well. We've seen cheeky Ezreal steals in the LPL And the poke damage starting to come through as well. That's annoying from BLG. Jayce versus Ezreal. And then a LeBlanc's just hiding behind a brush, waiting to get you.
I still think ADD should remain on the bot side, even though the composition has so much poke innately. That's going to be nice for later on in the game. But at the moment, I think ADD is already putting out so much damage on Chelizi on the side lane. And he's been able to just chip at the turret. Look at him just having the opening right now as it stands. No teleport there for Chelizi, so he's going to have the long walk here. Means that he's going to have a... I think he's going to have the tower. We'll have to see how low it is currently.
You know, it's not going to go over because
All right.
ADD doesn't want to commit.
He could have committed and been able to take it off, but he doesn't have much information of where Lee Sin is at the moment.
Playing it super safe. Those river wards have gone further into the enemy jungle, but Vici Gaming trying to take that back. You can see a couple of control wards around the blue side, which means that it is much harder for ADD to get up that lane. Mainly because they're preparing for this next Infernal Drake. Double Infernal in this game with a Mountain already on BLG, and this is going to be their next priority.
It's going to be weird if that's the next priority, because the lane assignments really say that, you know, BLG want vision topside. Just looking where the LeBlanc is, topside's where she's at, no teleport needed. You already see Jarvan helping her out too. You might see kill pressure on the Ryze. They're forced in that position now with the Rift Herald.
Oh, that's a really
bot.
good room prison.
Oh my
God! How does he do it? Jay just outplays Kuro.
That was just random from Kuro. I'm not going to lie. He didn't have the wave too, so you wanted to be able to at least wait for the Jarvan, who is sitting in the bush right next to you. At least ADD pushes off the Rift Herald push, but let's see if he can deal with the dive.
Turret might still go down. It depends when do BLG get here, because Southwind's joined in as well. ADD has to flash early. Shock blast onto Ike's. Hammer form not available, looking for the range. ADD gets the heal down and still chasing forward. 3 versus 3 while the top side Cataclysm down. Jay lives long enough, but not quite. Metoer to secure the kill. A 1-for-1 across the map.
There's just mistakes being made across the map. In particular, Jay gets an amazing advantage for Vici Gaming and immediately throws it away. He should have a great idea that Meteor is topside. You should know that. That's why Kuro was diving underneath you on the tower, and why BLG were responding bottom lane without their jungler. But disrespected that and tried to chip at tower topside.
Because of Jay going down as well, they're going to lose top, they're going to lose bottom. Bottom more so. The commitment here from Vici Gaming. BLG showing why they're in that top echelon at the moment, just capitalizing, making less mistakes, right?
I suppose. I mean, in a roundabout way, they got exactly what they wanted.
I mean, it all works out. They get mid-turret as well.
Did they get all 3 towers in one? We'll see what Kuro can get here. Okay, thank the Lord.
He's coming pretty close. That turret's going to go down in one more wave. So.
That is the weirdest way that I've ever seen a team net 3 towers, or at least close to it. So the top side, this was a mistake that Kuro made. This was just unfortunate because he gets the full burst from Ryze on top of the tower shot that was empowered. That was the second tower shot that hit. And then Jay, he had vision of Kuro. That's even worse. Like, electrocute, even the tower being able to hit him in the head. I still think he had corrupting potions, so him hitting Meteor. Yes, he has corrupting potions, so him hitting Meteor was actually good enough for the tower to now aggro him. So Jay's probably wondering why the turret hit him to begin with, since he de-aggroed the tower turret shot. But that's going to make things worse.
It's really rough as well because Metoer was at a pretty standstill point, having already been 50 CS up over Ike's. Giving him another kill is definitely what the jungler doesn't want from Vici Gaming side. As BLG finally break down that mid lane turret, all inners go down, rather outers against Vici Gaming.
Well, that was an interesting turn of events. You just get those moments gifted to us sometimes. But for Vici Gaming, I think the focus is going to be there for the members on the map. Jay's not going to be topside any longer because he still needs to focus towards what's going to be the Infernal Dragon. Double Infernal for BLG is the last thing you want on this map.
Yep.
So it's going to be good motivation for Vici Gaming to group up.
Really need to contest it. It's up now, and there is 0 vision here.
Why is Ike's topside? What's going on here?
He just doesn't want to be anywhere near the dragon, apparently. Pretty scared of Metoer. He's 2 levels behind, and he's going to look top instead. I don't know.
Losing
30
everything.
seconds still Baron.
This is literally the worst place you want to be, because you at least want to be bot side so you don't have LeBlanc soloing out your blue buff. BLG has been able to secure the most amount of objectives with the least amount of members.
That's a triple Infernal as well, right?
Yeah. So even if they didn't want to fight, at least be there so you can get the push on bot and mid lane, and then you can secure a blue buff for your Ryze. Now he doesn't have that.
And as well, because they didn't contest there, because they weren't putting up a fight, look at how much further that vision goes. And speaking of vision game of BLG, it is on point here. There is absolutely nowhere in their own blue side jungle, apart from that small control ward in the side, that is seen right now. So they lose all priority. Mid is fine, it's at a standstill. And when you have a composition like this that can roam around that has so much speed and momentum on it, for Vici Gaming, if they get caught out, one thing will lead to another.
I really enjoy BLG's vision control game. With Mini joining on the team, I was a little bit concerned. Whenever it comes to a new support, you always are a little bit afraid about them trying to figure out their roles.
Oh
Okay, no.
Yeah, Puff touches away. That's a close one.
That was real close. If you do that alone, no mid lane tower, that's going to make things harder. But now Kuro's just going to go back, and he's going to just keep refreshing that play. It's going to be easy for you to put the pressure now mid lane. And if you're a BLG, you don't have the game's not hard. The game's no longer try and pressure inner towers on both bot and mid. It's recognizing the next dragon's going to be like triple infernal. You can actually just have lanes shoving, play a slower game, and then play to the medium part of the map, because once you get triple infernal, then you can just put your focus towards the Baron buff.
That's right. Until then, you can even bait out that said Baron buff. BLG still controlling vision means that Vici Gaming have to check it at the moment, because at 21 minutes in the game, sure, they may not have the quickest Baron team, but they can still threaten it down. They still have to force Vici Gaming to them. And it's Ike's who takes the front of the damage each and every time. Again, look at that front line, not really online for the side of Vici Gaming yet.
And this is the best part of BLG's, vision game. Control wards placed, you can already see it being placed like mostly on the top side towards Baron.
Kuro's just on an absolute duty.
You already see the control ward on Wolfcamp too, so if Lee Sin ever wants to find a way through blue side jungle on the top of whoever, like Jinjiao, Mini, anybody, he's going to be tracked by Kuro.
Do you remember before Tahm Kench came out, and there was a time where if Ezreal arcane shift, you're in. You're like, this Ezreal made a mistake.
Yep.
Jinjiao arcane shifts forward, and Tahm Kench right behind him. Very annoying to deal with. Is now waiting for the wombo. Kuro finds the first one in BLG. Already 2 kills there. Chelizi, remember, not online, but does get Fear Beyond there. The flash away from Southwind, and BLG lose a couple of members here. A devastating fight for both ends, but it comes out BLG's favor, with Jayce still trying to continue it forward, but Jinjiao, this time arcane shifts away. 1 for 2 trade, favoring BLG. Vici trading back.
Arcane shift and flash. So Jinjiao and Mini needed to be able to flash out of there because Jay was pressing forward. That's fair, but BLG got the job done.
Oh no. Southwind, don't check that brush!
No!
What's for dinner? Well, there's your answer.
This is why you don't kind of limit people to that threshold, saying, he's just a control mage player. Kuro is just a damn good player.
Yeah.
Great Yasuo gave LeBlanc, and he's about to prove it again.
He thinks Jay's like, I wonder if Kuro's still here. Not warded. Jay and Ike still here. They see the teleport though. Kuro making a move and looking for Vici Gaming, but they've already backed off.
Remember, Jay uses ultimate to get vision on Baron buff. That's a real concern for them. Mountain Dragon there for BLG means that they can actually just turn to it. Muraman is completed too, so we're starting to see a little bit more damage here from Jinjiao.
Everyone's here from BLG. Jinjiao hasn't really been talked about this game because it's been the Ezreal game that BLG set him up for in this pick ban. 0-0-1, but double tier. And the second one now stacking with that Seraph's Embrace almost.
1 minute until the Infernal Dragon, so for how much vision control that's been topside, they should be focusing now on bot side. Look at the Wombo combo. Ultimate, just look at Kuro. Blows up Puff, so where's your damage now? You expect it now to be Chelizi, so thankfully he gets the answer back on ADD, so it doesn't turn into, let's say, an inhibitor turret pressure. Speaking of pressure, BLG finds their target.
Ike's slowed down. Remember, Metoer is 2 levels ahead of the Lee Sin. Chilling Smite to save the day, but Abyssal Voyagers here. Chelizi and Jay coming in. Remember, Jay has a lot of damage, so watch for the Ryze. They turn on him and they say, watch this. Jinjiao takes him down. Jinjiao now sends the True Barrage, and Jinjiao's going to follow this up. Vici Gaming have already lost 2, and this is super rough because Chelizi's going down next, and BLG, now it's time for Baron.
You're focusing on Jinjiao. Let's focus on the teleport that ADD had. That was the most aggressive teleport I've seen in behind enemy lines, but he comes out and just aces Puff. That was real well played, and it's going to be the easiest Baron that they could look for.
You can see why BLG, week after week, they're climbing up the standings and strength the schedule. Yeah, whatever. At the moment, Vici Gaming have been a widely contested team that have forced 3 games out of pretty much everyone except for RNG. But game 1 looks stock standard here as the Baron buff has been picked up, and even Mini wants to 1v1 the jungler.
For me, he just wants the base out of here. He just has no idea that Ike's is in the area. But I'm surprised at the pace that BLG is playing. 24 minutes into the game. I know that the the map, the dragons, like everything's kind of been going in their way. But the fact that they're able to push up the pace up against Vici Gaming is uncharacteristic. That Kuro is playing the assassin option is real surprising because he's recognizing that first pick it, confident up against it against Jay. I would love to see more BLG coming out with so many flexible picks in a best of 3. I was talking about the adaptation that's being key for BLG. We're getting a little bit more of it.
We're getting the showcase of the individual laners here from BLG, and you have to say a much stronger laning phase than what we've seen against other teams.
Definitely the case.
I'm just surprised if ADD will die here. He's being caught out. PV on death does land into him, but when he saves his life. Chem Drill will expire now for the re-engage here from BLG. Kuro just takes down in an instant the jungler of Vici. Realm to come in. Get me out of there. Jay almost dies himself, but he walks away. BLG find one. But that might be enough to break open an inhibitor.
Yeah, a lot of damage on Metoer though, so he wants to be able to base. So I wonder if they could do this just even out, 4 for 4. I think they should be able to. Jinjiao has a lot of damage underneath them, and the poke that ADD is going to couple with that should be enough to. Okay, well, Puff is already
Kuro. Apparently, he's still in there. Kuro again, ambitious. He'll die to a turret for the second time this game.
Southwind pulverized. You try and go straight on top of an Alistar. It's not going to happen.
Jay just gets chunked out by Jinjiao as well. So one damage threat is down, another still exists. Puff, half health too. The Shock Blast acceleration gate, the True Shot Barrage even does that much to Chelizi. The poke here from BLG is so much to deal with. You have to get all 3 members. And even then,
they're just splitting it up. ADD on side going through mid lane. The same time as bot lane inhibitor is taken. Right now, Vici Gaming have to go.
Sonic Wave into the minion wave to get through. Ix is not into the fight just yet, and Southwind was trying to lock down Metoer, but it's not meant to be. Arcane shift forward here from Jinjiao, the Dragon Flag, rather Flag and Drag. Vici Gaming running for their lives again. Chelizi does eventually drop. Jinjiao gets knocked back, but into the mouth of Mini, who saves his life. Southwind here looking for the knockup, but Jinjiao goes the other way to dissuade his opponents. Not enough here as Vici Gaming are actually fighting them away. Mini does drop down in the end. The flag, where is it? Can't get to it. Metoer wants to escape. Cataclysm's down. Vici Gaming turn it around. And BLG, they've lost a lot of members. A rough start, or end rather. Inhibitor may go down top, but the fight over to Vici.
Yeah, I mean, Vici Gaming are getting gold, but they're just losing so much part of the map. That's 2 inhibitors top lane while they were focusing so much on the bottom side of the map. I think ADD smartly chose to not pick the fight knowing that Kuro wasn't there. And guess what? Mid lane inhibitor was starting to focus and chip down on the Nexus turrets a little bit. Gets top lane inhib, so good job from ADD throughout all of that.
ADD has been very quiet this game. I know there's a lot of you out there who changed the way his name is spelt. And a lot of the time with ADD, there's early deaths. There's a 1-4 Aatrox roaming around that moves into the fights as a bit of an inspiration for BLG. But this game has been consistency here. And in the side lane right now, no one can deal with ADD. 3 items here on the Jayce.
It's a lot just being on side lane. I think he's being able to play to that. You talked about the fact that he could play to a lot of play styles. Team fight was one thing that we kind of talked about with the Poppy pick.
Yeah.
Fiora and Jayce seems to be the other option. And even though he's going up against Chelizi, I have a lot of confidence that he can do this up against one of the best in the league. So consistency is the only thing that I have to ever question. But based off of how clean this early game has been for this team, or at least how his laning phase has been versus Chelizi, I have a lot of confidence on Jayce.
Back in the MVP days, ADD second most MVPs on the team when MVP were successful.
How many games were that?
There were not many, right? There were not many. But ADD has his chance, a bit of a redemption, I guess. Entry into the LPL. And ADD, for BLG, this is a playoff-ready team. This is a team that is moving into playoffs. And as we said before, very good record at the moment. Higher than RNG in the standings. And they'll get their chance to prove it soon enough. Looking forward to that, actually. They'll face Suning after Vici Gaming. Still in the best of 3. You have the mindset here that you need to close this out cleanly. Game 1 not over yet, even with the triple Infernal. Waiting for these minions to capitalize in so that BLG can make that final game push.
Yeah, double tier's already been completed. And we've already seen a few mistakes that Kuro's made this game in terms of just closing out certain objectives. He doesn't actually need to do anything. He just needs to be pressuring from sides. Because take a look at Jay's top. Already chipping at the top Nexus turret there. So there's a lot of just pulling Vici Gaming apart. And a lot of poke that's really just, you can't really mitigate. who's going to really take the poke other than Urgot? Even if Alistar takes it, get a lot of damage shift on him. So Vici Gaming don't really have a right option other than Alistar has flash.
Yep.
Go for a headbutt pulverize on top of Mini and see how much damage you can get on top.
And Jay hasn't done a do and be build this game as well, so he's still pretty squishy as the Ryze, looking for the overload to keep him safe. Jay's the real threat here and the easy way to defend for Vici Gaming. So although 10k gold behind, it seems like Vici, even with triple inhibitor down, Jay able to clean those waves out pretty swiftly and set up for this next Baron potential. But if they even get near the Baron, that's going to be a feat here for Vici.
Ooh.
Well, Southwind doesn't even get to play the game.
That's the issue I was talking about. Alistar's still pretty squishy. And Kuro is going to be here just in case because he's going to have his ultimate right back up.
Yeah, level 16, level 3 ultimate at that. Ike's Dragon Flag. Continue with it, Raz. I don't know why. One level disadvantage. Southwind actually has the flash nice and early. Mini heading towards him as the circle of ice is there. Caught out, however. That is not where you want to be, ADD. Now 4 versus 5. BLG still have the advantage because of the gold lead, but Vici, it's possible.
Super minions right now already knocking on their door, so Jay has to go deal with it. Every single time they get one pick, still have to deal with all of that pressure still flooding into their base.
But for Jay, shouldn't be too hard. Ike has to run away. That's hard now for Vici Gaming. BLG turning the fight back around onto Southwind as the knockout of his Cataclysm. It might not matter because Meteor is so tanky to deal with. Puff and Chelizi left remaining as Jay's still in the base trying to save the game. BLG playing with their food here. Maybe they're going to eat it too. Puff is next. Wait for the flash engage as in comes Kuro again. The 80 carries down and Vici are left with 2.
Puff could only dodge so much. Jinjiao just throwing out Q after Q. He's missing a few.
Missile Void. I thought that's what I heard for a second, but I'm hearing death instead. It's Jinjiao with the kills this game. It's Chelizi left remaining. And Vici Gaming, the Urgot can't save the day. He's out of there. Orcs all the way to the fountain. And BLG, a very successful game 1. And this makes you think that this team is ready to move on past week 7.
So that was easy. And I think a lot of that comes down to criticisms levying towards Ike. I think Ike's just made some really weird plays. When Infernal Dragon was at play, double Infernal that was, went topside alongside Urgot. And I know that for that one, he's like, oh, maybe I can be in time for top lane wave so I can trade top lane tower for it. That's not going to happen. It was actually not going to happen in terms of like, they're going to take Infernal Dragon and still send one member top lane and be able to push you right back. So, and then there were other instances where he came to his blue buff fairly late. I think that he's going to look back on this one after the series. I don't think they have enough time in between games. And just kind of track what he could have done early on in this game to deal with the Jarvan. Because Meteor had it outset, push mid with LeBlanc, roam with Kuro towards blue buff, and then he would have options going topside too. So I think right now, if we're talking about MVP status for this game, I would give it to Meteor.
Yeah, no, absolutely. This sums up the game though, doesn't it? Because Ike's at 2.4k damage on a Lee Sin where you want to prioritize the early game and you want to get your lanes into a position of success. Vici just couldn't do that, and Ike's 2.4 is a good example.
It's a good example, I would say, for what Lee Sin was trying to do. If you look at all of his lanes, mid lane wasn't faring well, top lane wasn't faring well. He had an opportunity to look for a gank, but decided against it because he thought it was too difficult. Bot lane was never going to happen because it was an Ezreal and Tahm. So when was he going to go
nothing
in?
happened in the bottom
So
lane.
I think the better call for him was to go for the top lane gank that was presented to him, even if it's difficult. You still have a lot, like both flashes up. Urgot should still be able to have the element of surprise more often than not. You know, the top lane, opposition top laner wouldn't be having a good enough flash timing to be able to get, okay, you know, Urgot's trying to, you know, set up for a gank here. I think 100% of the time it's been able to work. So he made the game a little bit too difficult for himself. Vision control was there for BLG, which made it harder for him to even enter his own jungle. He had the hardest time, which is why I'm able to say the damage that he was able to give, I'm not concerned about that.
Fair.
I think what he should be concerned about more so is like when he has windows to look for those ganks, he should just go for it.
Definitely should, because there was no ward coverage in that top side as well. That would have been really good timing for him.
Yeah.
Top side of the map was the focus, but mid as well. There were moments where Kuro started slipping. There were moments where Jay, you know, had a reasonable performance, but it's just that top side, that trade-off that he didn't need to make.
Yes, Jay on top side when he lost his life from someone who was right in front of him. I think going into the series, we kind of expected that from BG Gaming. like individual performers like Jay had been really inconsistent at best. So I just want to see if he can bounce back going into game 2.
He's willing to take the carries. He's willing to put himself in face-first danger in the side of BLG. Game 2, better understanding as to BLG can keep this up. Consistency coming up next.